Hey guys, it's Holly. How's everybody doing? I hope that this video finds you well and in great spirits. I just want to come on here, guys, and show you what the Spirit has been teaching me. Of course, all of you guys know that what He's taught me in the past is the fact that everything is connected. Everything is becoming one. I believe in my spirit, in my heart, in my soul, in my mind, in everything that I have. I feel that the parts are coming together to create the whole. And with that whole is coming different perspectives on just the way that different people have thoughts, but how the Spirit is just bringing everything together, showing the similarities between even religions. I know that there's a great battle and a great war that goes against different ways of thinking, but what I've learned in the past 2.5 years is that in order to become one and in order to become whole, that we have to open our mind up. That's what the Spirit does for us. It gives us new eyes and new ears and shows us exactly how everything is connected. What some of the things that He's been showing, of course, I've shown you this in the past, guys, but this picture kind of brings everything in perspective of course, here you see the meiosis, which when you have, it could either be meiosis or mitosis, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it as meiosis, which helps me to understand, and what I teach my students is my mom and my dad created me through meiosis. So with meiosis, you have a single egg cell, which is female, and then you have the sperm cell, which is male in gender. When the two come together, what the Lord has been showing me, Spirit has been showing me, is that that male and that female comes together and creates a whole. We place so much emphasis on gender, and what I'm seeing in the Spirit is that God created He, Him, them. The way the scripture goes is He created Him as in her, him. He created them, and He called them Adam. Both the male and the female was called Adam. This goes into a deeper study, but yeah, that's what the Lord has been showing me, and He's been showing me this for some time now, that the two become one. The right and the left brain becoming one as a whole picture. We've talked about this before. I don't want to get too much involved in that, but I really want to stress to you guys of the wholeness of the similarities, yet the differences, but everything coming into a whole picture, a whole circle. So what we have here is you have the meiosis, the egg and the sperm coming together, and even though this creates a new entity, these cells right here are going to divide, and it's going to cause a division, but yet it's creating a oneness, because even though these two cells are splitting, it's forming another split, which 2, 4, 6, and then we get to the 8, okay, and then it keeps going on and on and on, because it's going to create the whole picture or the whole person. And in the end, it creates a whole being, a form of entity and of life. Same thing with the middle section right here. This is actually a picture of types of stars. And let me go back to the cell. When you have a cell, that is just one entity, one cell, either the male or the female. When they come together, it creates tissues. A group of cells create tissues. Tissues is like the strands. It's like a row of cells together makes the tissue. When tissues come together, they form an organ, like an organ inside of the body, and like the heart or the lungs or the eye or the skin. Okay, whenever you have a group of organs working together in a particular fashion, say your lungs and your mouth and your muscles, all these functions work together for a common goal, which is to help you breathe. That is your respiratory system. And we can talk about the same system as far as the digestive system, which digestion begins in your mouth with your tongue, and then it goes down your esophagus, and so forth, into your stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum. Okay? You have all these organs working together to form your digestive system. So, when all the systems come together, it creates the body. It creates you. But you've got to have all these systems to actually function and to live. Can can one of your systems malfunction and you continue to live? Absolutely. Um, but then your other systems take over and it enhances those systems. Just like the world, and you have your different religions and they come together, and when you start studying and learning about how everybody's connected, and you start studying, when your mind is able to become open and you're not so closed-minded to be just in the faith of Christianity, but then you open to different possibilities and different ways of thinking and seeing things, then you start realizing that all these religions, they're called different things, but then it creates the same spirituality within us, but yet it's called different things. And it's just so beautiful to see that we are all connected. The way that we get to a certain, I can say, body function, how we become our different beings and our different humans, how we become humans, our bodies are shaped differently. So just because we have a short and fat person, I shouldn't say fat, but a plump person, but then you have a tall, skinny person, just because they look different doesn't mean that they're not, one's a human and one's not a human. They're both human. And when you see the beauty in the short, plump, and the tall, skinny, the differences in those two beings, but yet you appreciate the whole being, then you've come into the realization that we are all one. Just like this group of stars right here. You have maybe one star in this top picture, and it's exploding, and then maybe you have a two-star explosion, and this is what gives you these beautiful auroras around these stars. It's the energy being released, and this is what forms the outer beings. But then you might have a cluster of stars that are exploding or imploding, and it gives off this glow. It may give off different glows. But then all of these stars, when you have a clump of stars coming together, it forms galaxies. Just like we live in the Milky Way galaxy, and it has a certain shape. But then your individual stars, like our sun, has different different beings or different ways of functioning in the Milky Way galaxy that gives life to solar systems, just like compared to our body systems. There is purpose and meaning for everything, and for everything there is a way of being that is, it comes together for the greater good of the whole picture, the whole being. And shortly after becoming spirit filled, I lived a couple of years, or probably about a year and a half, deep within my Christian faith and religion, and read the Bible, and But then something happened. I started um, gaining more wisdom and wanting to learn more things, and the Lord was showing me and leading me to different things. And I came into the realization of the sacred geometry and the beauty in the sacred geometry, where your energy begins, or creation begins with one singularity point, which is God. And then you have the spirit, and then the spirit moves, but it has to move within that circle and on that plane. So then it creates another spirit, and then you have spirits that are connecting, and the energy is flowing, but it makes a perfect symmetrical shape. And then you have the flower of life. This is compared to the egg of life, where you have eight um, eight different cells coming together. This is what's called the egg of life. This is the flower of life. Okay, and then you have, in the end, you have the sacred form, which creates every single form and every single shape that has ever been created or existed in the whole entire physical world, okay, within the geometry. So I just wanted to talk about that for just a second and kind of touch on a couple of things that he's been showing me. And I made some notes. I'm just going to scroll down and kind of talk about some of the things. I'm going to actually come up to this picture in just a minute, but I want to talk about what the Lord has been showing me for the past 2 nights in a row. He has awoken me exactly at 4 a.m. for 2 consecutive nights. So, out of a dead sleep. So 4 has stuck out to me for the past couple of weeks. And with it being 2 nights in a row, he showed me 44. So I had a strong sense of 44 connection. And then instantly, because the 2 8s and the 28 that I've been seeing for 2.5 years, 44 doubled is 88. So to me, the 88 represents the whole picture. And if you look within the 2 8s, you have 4 sections. So you have 4 circles, which gives the greater picture of the whole entire circle, which the 88 to me represents the whole circle. It's a mirror image too. You have 44 on the right, 44 on the left, which gives you that perfect circle. And that's the mirror image from one side to the other. So with this picture right here, let me see if I can do this a little bit quicker. When I was studying to be a teacher, there was a theorist that I absolutely fell in love with, and his name was Howard Gardner. And he stated the the principles of multiple intelligence, which he believes that we all learn differently. We have our special, unique quality that helps us learn, which I've spoken about this in the past, but you have body kinesthetically, which is movement. You learn by doing things with your hands and feeling and getting into the experiment, and you learn like by doing. And this is where your athletes come into play. And then you have your visual spatial learning, which you can see it. You have to actually see it to actually grasp it and to have a mental picture in doing it. Verbal linguistics is with words. Emotional intelligence, this has to do with empathy. Your logical, mathematical side, you're more logical. You need to break it apart and kind of see how it works together. Intrapersonal is when you work well with others. Interpersonal is when you work well alone. So you have your musical rhythm. A lot of you, which I love music. I can't play music or sing, but I love music, and I believe that it's connected to everything as well. But you have your naturalistic learning style. Some people learn through nature, and they connect everything through nature. But the reason why I wanted to show you this, and everybody is capable of learning a special, unique way. And just because you learn differently from others doesn't mean that you have a sense of learning at a better rate. No, I mean, I believe that everybody learns a different way, but when we all come together and offer our different qualities to the whole picture, then that's when the 2D becomes a 3D or even a 4D reality and sphere, because we're seeing things on different levels, but we're helping each other to learn in different ways. And then you have your spiritual intelligence, which is winded up within all of these different ways of learning. But at this center point, you have the diamond, you have the vortex, you have the the space that becomes that spiritual learning, where all the parts become the whole. And even though this is twisted up into the 8 or the infinity, and you have your vortex, which meets in the middle, or that central point where the energy flows through, what happens if you take that 8 and you untwist it? And what does it become? It becomes a perfect whole or perfect circle. And this is what makes you alive and unique. And the whole picture just comes alive. And you become a spiritual being on a different level, because you're able to now, you're from, before you were from the lower realm, but then when you start seeing how everybody learns and you open your mind up to seeing the whole picture, it's like you kind of lift up, and then you're looking down and you see, not down on people, but you're looking down and you're seeing how everything's connected. And you, instead of seeing the parts um, in separate segments, you see the whole picture. And and instead of seeing just bits of the light, all the lights coming together in that central sphere, and you're seeing the white light, because the parts make the whole light and the whole picture, and all the parts are coming together, and you're grounded in seeing the beautiful picture of the wholeness of everything, even from the cells all the way to the minuscule parts to the universe, which is connected, and everything is a fractal being. And everything, if you was to blow up the cell, inside of that cell, reverse it, go all the way out to the whole universe, and everything is the same. It's you within that middle point of that infinity. It's depending on how you look at it. Either you look up and you see the universe, or you look down and you see the cellular field, and you can even break it further. You can even go further inside that cell, where it talks about string theory and the electrons and the neutrons, and the positive charges and the negative charges. Just like you were to look at the Earth, if you were standing above the Earth, you'd see the negative and positive poles. Everything is connected, and that's what the Lord is teaching me, and it's so beautiful. And I just want to teach as many people that will listen to me and just see this beautiful picture and really open up your mind and learn different things. When I came into the Spirit, the first thing He taught me was to throw everything that I have learned previously by man out. And that opened up a new whole world to me, and helped me to see that I needed to open my mind and see things in different light. So I did, and I'm very, very happy that He taught me that, and He's still teaching me. And some things are hard, but the more that we don't hold on to anything, and yet open our world up to accept everything, is when we will see the similarities, because we are one inside this whole beautiful picture. We are one central part that makes a whole, and we're all connected. He was also showing me sense. This word came up a lot in my mind also, which when I saw sense, I saw sentence. And I know, because I teach children, 5th grade, where we're writing our, we're just writing because we're getting ready for the end of the year test, where we have to make complete sentences and a complete thought. So when you have a sentence, you have a noun plus a verb. And this is so important that for us to be complete, we are the noun, but what's so very important is the verb, and that's the action. The noun cannot be independent from the verb. It has to be dependent on the verb, and the verb is action. It always shows action. So the subject and the verb has to express a complete thought. If a sentence does not contain a complete thought, we call it a fragment. And I believe in my heart of hearts that the Lord does not want any of us to be fragmented. He wants us to be whole, and He wants us to come together and just really love one another and just really accept one another. Granted, He wants all of us to be living in the right sense of way and the right mind, and to do good and to love others. I believe is so important. Do not lie, do not cheat, do not steal, do not kill, do not be jealous, do not be envious. We have to do what is right and good in order for us to live in the goodness of the wisdom and the knowledge that He's giving us. Because when we don't, when we're not being honest, and when we're doing these things and not being honest to other people, then that, to me, what He's shown me is that you don't love others. You hate them if you're lying to them or cheating them or stealing them. So He stresses to me not to do those things, and has brought me out of that and taught me how to be holy, which Jesus was holy. He was our example. And with my Christian background and my belief in Jesus, it's not just that I believe that Jesus lived. I believe that He lived holy and that He was a man just like, or you can say woman, that we are, and that we have to be holy. We have to be complete and whole in that life too. Okay, I'm going to stop here and come back to you guys with some other things that He showed me, but I believe this is the link that I want to go to. Okay, much love.